Hola amigas y amigos y todos los demás aquí en Latina Mic Drop. Vamos a hablar de todo lo que nosotros dudamos. What are we freaking doubting these days? What is it telling you about yourself, your past, where you're going? And we want to talk about what is doubt telling you, and does doubt always mean that you are unprepared? Sometimes it means you're getting close to a new version of yourself. And here's the thing, I was thinking about why in the world, díganme por qué, people trust me with some of their deepest and darkest, I wouldn't say secrets, but they trust me with information that is very important to them. And I started doubting myself, and I was saying, like, who the fuck? Like, why do they trust me? What is it that allows them to come into my world and share such stories with me? And I want you to start thinking about when you start doubting yourself, and what do you do when you're doubting yourself, and how do you deal with doubt? So share in your notes, write this in your iPhone, think about it in your head if you're listening to this while you're doing something. Fill in, I started doubting myself when, right? What evidence did you ignore in that moment? So sometimes these are the questions that you're asking yourself. You're thinking, like, what the heck does fucking doubt look like? What is doubt? Is it fear? Well, sometimes you're thinking, like, am I good enough? Who am I to do this? I've seen that a lot in my coaching. Who am I to do this? Like, ¿quién te crees, right? I think it's because people that you're around, they're saying, tú te crees más, right? You think you're the big shit now. What will people think is another one, right? Like, what will people think if I went to school for this, but I decide that I want to be a chef, or I decide that I want to be a DJ, or I decide that I want to create art, or I decide that I want to be a writer? But my family thinks I should be a doctor, a lawyer, get a profession, an accountant, or I am an accountant and I want to pivot and go and do something else. The other thing that you're thinking is, what if I fail? What if this doesn't fucking work? Right? What if I walk away from something that is working? And obviously, you're asking yourself the question of, is it working? Just because it's paying the bills doesn't mean that it's working, because their question is coming up because something is not working. Something's not going well. So then you begin to question, okay, I already know this, but then now if I move on to the next thing, what if I fail? What if it doesn't work? What if it takes forever for me to get to this point of where I'm at? Right? Building something takes time. So will I go ahead and flop at this next thing? What if I make the wrong decision? That's another one, right? Some people may be thinking, what if I choose the wrong thing? Do I get to have what I want? I remember I would tell my kids, and I feel bad about this, and I now think, damn, I was in survival mode. And I would tell my children, when they wanted a toy or they wanted something extra at the grocery store, I would tell them, well, you don't really need that. Instead of, like, be honest with them and tell them I don't have the money to buy it. You could want it, and I wish that I could buy it, but I don't have the money. So I would tell them they don't need it. So then I would always feel like, damn, like, did I teach them that their wants are not important? That what they want is not okay for them to have? Like, whoa, when you make those realizations at that time, I did and said what I needed to do and say so that I didn't have to spend the money, and I made them believe that. And now it's like, shit, did I do the wrong thing? Right? So some of us continue to ask ourselves those questions, like, do I get to have what I want? And what I want you to think about is, like, where did that voice come from? Where did you first learn to question yourself? Like, is this your voice, or is someone else's voice in your head, right? It could very well be that, like me, your mom, your dad, your uncle, your somebody else said something to you and made you believe something, and then it stayed with you forever. So is it that, right? Is it somebody else's voice making the decisions for you, or is it your voice, right? What would your voice say if you just spoke out loud and made a decision? What family, cultural, workplace, or childhood messages still follow you? This is an important question. Like, I used to get so pissed off because they would say to me, you have to get married and you have to have kids and you have to this and you have to that and you have to think about work more than education. But I wanted an education. I knew how important education was to me. And I knew how important it was to have an education to get to the job that I wanted to get. And so, because those were at that time what you needed to get to that level. Now, thankfully, they're paying more attention to experience, not just degrees and education, but you still have to come from a level of experience. The invisible pressures to succeed without making others uncomfortable is what happens to us sometimes. We want to make others feel okay. If we do well, right? Sometimes other people feel uncomfortable. If we share a win with our families and we say to them, hey, you know what? I just accomplished this, whatever it might be. And instead of them congratulating you, what do? They go ahead and they think, oh, who the heck do you think you are? You think you're better than us. Oh, why are you saying that to us? Oh, you think you're the only one that can accomplish that? Well, my stuff is good too, right? So there's a lot of things that happen when we begin to share and when we have a win, and then someone else that we care for and that we think about minimizes our success, minimizes our win, minimizes who and what we have become. Damn, that's tough. That's tough. And what I see now is so many high achieving professionals, so many high achieving women, especially, are criticized for sharing their wins. Then you wonder why we don't share our wins. Then you wonder why we don't say we make X, Y, and Z money, why we, got this award, why we got that award, because you all are so quick to bring us down. And I want the people that are bringing others down, right? Like me, I grew up in a family of ball busters. It's just the way we communicate. And it doesn't mean that they don't love me. It doesn't mean that they can't stand me. But guess what? I'm not freaking telling them about certain things. And I want to change that. I want to be able to say that. But I also, in order to be able to do that, they need to respond to me differently. So think about the way that you respond to them, right? As well as me. I want to respond different to my kids because I probably taught them a little bit to be invisible and to just follow and to just people please. It wasn't my full intention, but at the time I was a young kid raising 3 kids, and at the time I didn't know what I know now, right? So now that I do know, I want to be able to respond differently, so I do it differently. Now I see them as adults. Now I don't see them as little kids. Now I see them for who they are and where they are. I want to talk a little bit about what the cost of doubt brings to you. What does doubt cost? Sometimes that thing is you don't charge people, you continuously begin to give things out for free, for free, for free, for free, for free. And listen, it's okay to do it in the beginning to get like a proof of concept. But after a while, like if somebody else was able to do it, you should be able to do it too. And then sometimes you think you're brand new, but you're coming from experience, right? Like the sometimes because you're doubting that you are not good enough, or that you're not ready, or that you're not as experienced as others, or you're not in business as long as others, that what you bring is not valuable enough to charge other people. That's not 100% the truth. If you are giving them a transformation, if you are giving them a service that is helping them get a promotion, feel better about themselves, understand a system or a challenge that they didn't see before, help them see a blind spot. You know how many coaches help me see my blind spots? All the freaking time. I will say something and they will tell me back. They are my mirror to tell me where it is that it is costing me. They are the people who are trained to challenge and help you. So don't underestimate what a coach does, right? It's not just the coaches that are on the basketball courts or in the soccer fields, right? Coaches who are out there, like life coaches, money coaches, finance coaches, personal development coaches, career coaches, almost anything you need, they're out there. You just need to find the right person. Just like you go look for a person, like you need a plumber to go fix this. You need, people to work outside and fix your lawn or whatever it is. I do executive coaching because I did not have a Latina to coach me through all of the stuff that I've been through and learned. So I became one so that I can begin to sponsor and help my community and they can relate to me on where I'm at in my journey, who I am, and all the different kinds of roles that I have that may be helpful to them. And it's not about me, it's about them. The opportunities you did not pursue is another thing, right? When you're doubting yourself, you may say no to yourself. You may say, you know what, I'm not getting on that plane. No, I'm not going to apply to that job. No, I'm not going to start my own business and try to do a side hustle. No, I'm not going to try to write my blog because I'm not a great writer, right? And it might not even be that you're not a great writer. It's just a doubt that you have because you haven't done it, or it's been something you haven't done in a while and you don't know where to start. And also, like, some of the stories you do not share. Some of you doubt. This is where I see a lot of you have a great opportunity, because what you can begin to do is you can begin to share your stories. How far and how deep you go into those stories depends on your level of comfortability and where you are in your journey. Meaning, are you over it and you can share the lesson from that story? And also, this is how you can connect with people. My story is about my dad being incarcerated, about my mom not accepting my LGBT, my inability to share and hide who the heck I was for so many different years because I was hurt from the corporate world, hurt from my parents, hurt from just different experiences, right? All of those stories I hid and didn't share, and I was missing out on connecting with the right people, helping the right community, helping my community do better, helping them see that if I went through it, they can get through it too. And this is another thing, the wins you do not celebrate. So a lot of you are out there doing great things and you are just going on to the next thing. You're not celebrating your wins because why? Your family is not celebrating you when you share it. But you have to find your community that will. And people will applaud for you, right? It's like, don't miss out on that opportunity to share your win. Like, I feel that this one is, I've had crickets before in so many different ways, and I really wish that we could get rid of that bias towards women, that we could get rid of that, oh, you think you're so much or you think you're better, all of that. I just really wish it was gone. And I really wish that women would just go ahead and feel uncomfortable in the beginning until it feels comfortable. And sometimes I don't even think it ever goes away. I think you just get used to, having people challenge you and have people come back to you and say these things. And Sometimes you respond to them, sometimes you don't. Sometimes, like for me, I build FAQs around the questions that people ask me, because I'm like, oh, okay, they have a question about that. Let me write that down. Even though the other person may be questioning my authority, they may be questioning my credibility, they may be thinking that I am not, they're trying to measure me, right? Like to see if I am the right person to give them that service or whatever, right? It could be a bunch of stuff, but it doesn't matter, right? And then I want you to think about, what has doubt already cost you? So I want you to write this down in your iPhone, on a notepad. Doubt has already cost me. Pause if you have to pause this and fill it out. And here's the thing, right? We feel the visibility is hard, and the fear of judgment is what comes sometimes. So we feel it might be dangerous to be fully seen. I think about that all the time, especially being LGBT. I think about that a lot. Are you afraid of criticism, confrontation, rejection, you sending something out and them telling you no, you putting yourself out there and them telling you no, or disappointing family, right? There's sometimes where I post certain things and to me it's true, but to my family member it's not. And whatever is true for me, it's okay for them to see it the way they want to see it, and it's okay for me to see it the way I see it. Sometimes it is a disappointment, and sometimes we do end up being the villain in other people's stories because they want us to be something that we're not. And unfortunately, sometimes that does happen. Fortunately for us, we can make the choice, right? To do so or not do so. And if you are feeling that criticism, right, take it as information and data. And also, I would say be prepared to not just give in to people and give in to what they want or what you think they want to satisfy them right away. I would say think about the tools or saying scripts that you may need to make this situation what it needs to be, right? Like sometimes people can't pay me everything up front. So I used to get scared of asking them because I didn't know what I was going to say afterwards if they didn't or couldn't pay me all of it at once at the same time. But now I learned that I can offer options that will work for us and talk about it, right? It's a conversation that we can have. Sometimes I would think like, oh no, if I put this out there, nobody's going to show up or they're going to criticize me for the topic that I'm talking about. And I've learned that, yeah, some people are going to criticize me. Yeah, some people are going to laugh. And yeah, some people are going to think this is dumb. But there are other people that I'm going to serve. What am I feeding? Am I feeding the bad part or am I feeding the good part, right? Like, who do I want to focus on? Do I want to focus on those that criticize me or do I want to focus on those people that need me? And I choose to pick the people that need me, and the people that don't, they can, go on about their day. And putting yourself out there is not easy. And I get that. For a lot of you, this is the part that takes some time. But the more you do it, the easier it'll get. And the more you do it, the more you'll find your community. And think about what is it that you want to say, how you want to say it. Just consider all your different options as to how you want to do it. And do it. Just post it. At the end of the day, you could take it away. And I think that if you don't have visibility in social media, you really do need to use it because it's currently free and you can reach people globally anywhere. And you'd be surprised at how many people you can find that are in other states, other countries, and your reach can really become really big. It doesn't have to be literally the people around you or closest to you. Sometimes they are, and sometimes you can really go out there and find other people. And this is a huge lie. And I've heard this over and over again from many people, and it is that nobody cares, right? This is when you feel invisible. This is when you feel like nobody really cares about your stuff, about what you're doing, and how you're doing it. Just because you're putting it out there and it's a great product and it's a great service, sometimes it just hasn't reached the right person or hasn't reached the right thing, or you're giving something maybe that people don't want, but it doesn't mean that they don't care. It doesn't mean that there's nobody out there that cares. I mean, there's people in my life that don't care about me. At least that's what I feel, because they don't do anything for me or talk to me or bother to call me or bother to anything with me. But then there's other people who do, who text me, who DM me, who check on me, and who say, you know what? Are you doing okay? Is everything all right? What's going on? Right? So invisibility can really affect your present day marketing, how you show up, the leadership. I used to hide. I used to get so scared to be next to senior executives. And I used to really shrink myself and act like I wasn't there. I was in the room, but I wasn't there. And I would treat myself like a fly on the wall, as opposed to being somebody who had something to say and had something to offer. So they never paid attention to me. I know I missed opportunities because of that. People don't know what you have in your mind and your brain and your thought. And sometimes what you may say is exactly what they need to hear. And in business, of course, if you don't put yourself out there, they're not going to find you. They are going to be missing out on your greatness. And think about, what proof do you have that your work has made an impact? If you're brand spanking new, sometimes you have to look at what you've done in your job and your work to demonstrate all the greatness that you've done. But then as you continue to grow and you continue to have your business, think about all those people that, one, keep coming back, two, buy from you, three, give you feedback, and four, are really there and engaging with you all the time. And those testimonials that you receive, sometimes you can incorporate them into, your workshops, your speaking engagements, to the things that you have on your website. And sometimes you can ask for it. I currently did, and I started asking people that did not work with me why they didn't work with me. And I started to get that information. Like, it's not that they didn't care, it's not that they didn't want to work with me. It was just that what I was offering wasn't what they were looking for. They were looking for something totally different. And that's what I'm finding out too, is like, what are people looking for in publishing, in the book industry, in writing? What do they want? And here's the other thing to consider. Consider where you're coming from, like from a place of growth or from the belief that you never get to have enough. What are you overlooking because your attention is fixed on what is missing, right? If you're always thinking about what you're missing, sometimes we don't realize what we have. And sometimes if we are thinking that we're not enough, we're not seeing how we have grown and how far we have already come. So I want you to now write down, fill this in. I already have blank. Right? What are those things that you have now that maybe you didn't have last month, 6 months ago, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago? What are those things? And like I mentioned before, are you feeding the criticism or the people your work could help? Are you focusing on the people who do not support you or the people who do? Who deserves that energy of yours? And here's the other thing, not every question deserves an answer. Decide whether feedback is useful data, projection. I mean, projection is huge. Projection is something about them that they can't be helpful to you because they're just seeing it from their eyes, from their lived experience, from where they lack, or an attempt to challenge your authority, right? Some people are just being fresh and just being smart, Alex. And I want you to ask yourself, do I need to respond, prepare an answer for next time, or simply let this go? Right? Sometimes, too, be careful that you're not giving up on things too quickly. I had to stop myself one time because I realized that I was getting ready to jump into just saving the day. And instead of letting them pay me, I was almost about to just give it away. And I said, girl, that's a hobby, not a business. So I needed to learn how to respond to this person, to people in general, so that I understand. And criticism was very hard for me in the beginning. And at the first trigger, it was like triggering, because I felt very, very much criticized all the time by my mom. It didn't matter what I was doing, where I was going, how in like if you ask her, she's gonna tell you she wasn't like that. But for me, that's how it felt. And I needed to move on from that. And I needed to demonstrate for myself that it was information. And sometimes the questions that come are because they really do have questions, not because they are questioning your authority and who you are. It's really because they just don't know and want to know more before they make an informed decision, right? They want to make an informed decision. And make sure that you're creating your receipts file. So share your get your testimonials, write down your accomplishments in the latest book, 8 leadership styles that empower. I made sure that I wrote all my firsts in that chapter because I had not realized how many first things I had done. And I wrote them all down not to make myself feel better. I wrote them down so that whomever read the book chapter could see that they have also had all these different accomplishments for themselves, right? Also, your successful projects. Like if you're in a corporate job, these are important. You need to be able to share those data points. Did you improve by this percentage? Did you save this amount of money? Like where can you share those successful projects there? And then use those in your performance, use those in your resume, because that is what people want to know. What is the impact of the work that you do? What are the client results, right? Just be careful that you're not oversharing. You have confidentiality to your clients. So make sure that you are not being specific with names and all of that stuff. Don't do that. You want to make sure that you're showing transformation and what those results are generically. Difficult situations you already survived, right? This one is not really to be shared with other people. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's just so that you can see, hey, I've been through this. So you know what? I can move on and I can do better. This, in comparison to that, is nothing I can manage and I will keep it moving. And what I want you to do is write this down as your doubt reset. Doubt has been telling me fill in the blank. The truth is fill in the blank. This week I will fill in the blank. And the version of me I am becoming would fill in the blank. So I want you to do this little mini exercise and understand where you are. Is it true? Is the doubt really, really helping you or holding you back? And what you can do to go ahead and make those doubts go away, and how you can move forward even when those doubts come on. And where are you going, right? Like what does the new version of yourself require from you? Sometimes, like for me, it requires me to be different. It requires me to have major visibility. And sometimes, like, it's uncomfortable. At the beginning, it was. Now I'm pretty comfortable with it. The more I put myself out there, the more chances I have of getting more clients and getting more business, right? So you don't have to eliminate the doubt before you move. You need to stop treating doubt like the person in charge. You're in charge, not the doubt. Let's put the doubt in the back seat. Let's, throw it out the car. Let's, I don't know, whatever you want to do with that doubt. Spray it down, right? Like hose it down. I don't know, whatever that comes up in your head, just do that to that doubt. They may rain on your sunshine, but you can still dance in the rain. I love that quote. That quote is what takes me through some tough times. And I was just reminded of that this week when I actually went to work, came back, and I had no umbrella and it started pouring. And I was like, well, I can either get pissed off that there is rain out there and I don't have an umbrella, or I can be reminded that I can choose to dance in the rain. So I want you to do one of these things, right? Choose one decision doubt has delayed. Take one visible action within the next 24 hours. Post your win, send the pitch, raise the price, submit the application, tell the truth, or begin the work. Thank you for listening to Latina Mic Drop. I will see you on the flip side.